Curseară, găzduită de Vertica pentru Viitor. Sunt Daniela Șerban, președinte ARIR și cofondator Vertica pentru Viitor, un grup de inițiativă în politici publice care își propune și este deja foarte avansată în procesul de redactare a unei propuneri de politică publică alternativă în area egalității de gen, de șanse și încurajarea participării economice a femeilor. În această seară avem două doamne invitate și voi trece în limba engleză, însă în continuare vă invit la discuții despre ce înseamnă egalitate de șanse, cum o definim, de ce depinde să avem mai multe doamne în poziții de conducere și, nu în ultimul rând, discutăm și expertiza și perspectiva internațională. Good evening once again, and I'm very happy to have today two special guests, two special partners to Vertica project. Ms. Ana Maria Mihaescu, board member of Raiffeisen Bank and MedLife, and a very experienced international manager. Good evening and thank you for joining us today.
Good evening. Good to be here.
Thank you. And also Ms. and Dr. Lara Tasan-Zanin, the head of the European Investment Bank office in Romania. Good evening and thank you for joining us today.
Good evening. Thank you for the invitation.
It's very important and it's very nice to see also the international expertise, because both of you have worked in international markets, have experienced the financing area, also the men versus women discussion and a lot of negotiation around. And I would like to start with your personal experience and what helped you to achieve your positions, maybe your successes, what were the opportunities and maybe some challenges. Ms. Mihaescu, if you want to start.
I think, thank you. It's always a pleasure to be with you and with all good friends like Lara and extraordinary women, both professionally as well as in their day-to-day 24 work. I was fortunate in a way, after having 20 years experience in the Romanian financial sector, to be hired by one of the specialized agency of the United Nations. I was working for 20 years plus in the International Finance Corporation. And when you are in an entity which is composed from dozens of cultures, you are realizing that life it's not as easy and as simple as you have been educated to think that it is. And I think these rich cultures are also having a strong impact on making and helping you in realizing what you would like to have from this wonderful experience, which is our life on earth. And I think that's what happened with me. On one hand, in the Romanian banking sector, I had wonderful bosses, mainly men, who have respected my work, and they have helped me as being outstanding mentors in promoting becoming the president of one of the important banks of that time and the very new institution on the banking sector, the Exim Bank of Romania. And then in the IFC, it was the multitude of cultures and the interaction with outstanding women. And I knew that there is also more to which I would love to drive. And finally, I think I have succeeded balancing a happy family life with a good professional experience.
Thank you very much. Definitely more questions will follow on this. But I would like to move to Ms. Tasan-Zanin as well, because being also more like an expat in Romania, you also have this perspective how was your story and how it is still?
So first of all, let me say that it's really a pleasure and a must, I think, for women to hear from other women their experience. I don't think we speak up enough, and we speak, let's say, we share experience and we look for role models as much as we would need to. Anna Maria mentioned how much her bosses and mentors were key to her development, and I think, of course, role models not have to be only female, but certainly we have to be, as women and female professionals, always very ambitious to speak up and find our role model and follow them. What has helped me, first of all, I'm an expat. I have been living in very different countries, from Luxembourg to UK, from Turkey to Romania. So more or less, let's say, different kind of setups. I'm an Italian by nationality, although I consider myself a citizen of the world by now. But certainly the Italian roots are there. And I say this because I think Romania and Italy share some commonalities in terms of the culture we are rooted in, which is a positive ones, and also somehow limiting for the female word, so to say. When I think what has helped me I was a young engineer, so one woman out of 500 students, and then an engineer working in a bank, also the banking sector being very, I would say, male-oriented. So somehow, since my studies up to today, 25 years more of professional journey, I was always a minority, and I had to somehow make my point, because I was either the junior in the group or the woman in the group. So what I think, there are three key factors that helped me through the whole process, and certainly in addition to have bosses and role models that believed in me. The first one is knowledge. I think that we have to know what we are talking about in the business in order to be a reliable counterpart. Second, it's assertiveness. And while knowledge is commonly recognized, I mean, that the women, of course, they have similar and comparable knowledge, sometimes we are not too ready to speak up and to show our knowledge. It is commonly recognized that women, that they have to somehow to apply to a vacancy, they look at the requirements, and if they don't fit at least 80% of the requirements, they will not participate in the selection. A man that looks at the same requirement and just has 20% of the requirements, he says, okay, I will do the job. Let me apply and let me get the chance to be selected. So, as I said, knowledge, and I say this in the order of relevance, and of also, I would say, of in the order of when they come up in your life. So knowledge, to build a solid education and a solid knowledge, a robust knowledge, to learn to be assertive, to speak up, to share your views, to make your point. And then the third, I think, is charm. I think we have some special features as a female, and we can use our charm, for example, in negotiations, in order to make our point. And I give you an example, and I will conclude with that. I faced at least two situations in my professional life. One was in Turkey, one was in Georgia, when my male colleagues let me the toughest bit of the negotiation. And after we went out of the room successfully, I kind of confronted them. I said, well, why you let me the toughest message to give? Why you let me the last bit of the last mile, so to say, to get the results? Oh, because Lara, you know, of course, the others were only men, so to say. And they said, well, because only certain things can be accepted by the counterpart only if you say this in a certain way, and you have these skills as a woman to say it in a way that it can be digested, accepted, and a solution can be found. So to conclude, knowledge, assertiveness, and charm, I think were the three key success factors that accompanied me from my initial experience until today.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. Totally agree, I would say. Coming back to Ana Maria Mihescu, I would add a bit of spice to our discussion, because knowledge is a key factor to a lot of discussions between men and women. But also one point that I would like to discuss is the one related to quotas, because we are discussing about women in management position, and I would say that this imposing quotas was a bit controversial, and probably still is, among women and among men as well. Men feel it's the positive discrimination. Women feel that maybe not. I mean, they don't want this. What's your feeling? Also, Germany recently proposed that, but please.
Before entering into this discussion, I would like to add something to what Lara said. Knowledge is very important, I would say, and mainly in the first part of our journey. But once you are on a certain management position, the knowledge is becoming somehow secondary, because if you are not really very good, you are not up there, you are not a member of the dialogue which is taking place. But what you need to add then to your knowledge, it's your network. And sometimes I feel, and that is something which mainly in Eastern and Central Europe, many of my friends do not understand and do not agree. Network is as important as knowledge. And sometimes even more important, your own network, the positivity you are able to raise around yourself. And with that being said, I would share with you a few of my things about the quota. You know, being a Romanian, we are very much against quotas. And that is a historical heritage, because during Ceausescu's time, it was a certain quota, and usually it was filled with women and men not of the best qualifications. So there is some reluctance. But from my experience and from what I'm noticing around the world, I think nowadays, if the situation is really very difficult, just with recommendation, we are not reaching a result, or if it is to be reached, we have to wait for 30, 50, or 100 years, as we were discussing in your write-up about policy work. And if we are looking, by the way, at the recent results of quotas, and I'm talking at the London Stock Exchange, you know, in 5 years, the number of women on the boards has increased with 50%. There is no single all-male board on FTSE 250 or 100. So the results are there. Without a quota, they would have maybe needed to wait another 20 years. The same extraordinary results were registered in France and now in Germany. So yeah, I am for the quotas, at least for a limited period of time. I truly believe, even if, you know, historically, I do understand the reservations. I believe in quotas, and to the ones who are very much, you know, questioning the quality of people which would be appointed in the quotas, I'm asking them to believe in market forces. Even if in the first quotas, the quality of the minoritarian which would be appointed, it would be lower than the best candidates. In the second mandate, they will be replaced with the better quality candidates.
Thank you for this strong opinion. I would definitely be curious about the same opinion, but adding also the question, what other measures could be? Because if you have a full male table, a male should give you a place at that table, you know, adding the networking part. Please, Lara.
So I'm very honored that Anna Maria, of course, which I have a lot of respect for, states so strongly this opinion, because I must confess I have been always politically active in my life. I come from a family of politicians, and politics was always in my, let's say, during the lunches and the dinners were the topic for discussion. Boring or not, I felt back then interested. Why I say so? Because in all my activity, I was always against pink quotas. I mean, I thought that we weren't, I mean, this was not the way to go. We didn't need that as a young, passionate about gender equality. But soon enough, I have learned that despite all the efforts, all the recommendations, all the priorities, all the targets, the situation either is not changing or is not changing at an acceptable pace. And therefore, I am, if I can say, 200% in favor of quotas. Of course, this is a very sensitive topic for corporates and even for international institutions like the European Investment Bank. I do believe that the one way to go for so is not to shy away from quotas, but also to enrich, let's say, the narrative around it. Because I usually tell my senior male colleagues when they come to me and they complain about a newly appointed female manager that they don't like, oh, she was appointed just because it's a female. And I kind of ask them, but did you ever think about it of a male manager, that bad male manager that you had? Too often the excuse of a bad female manager is, oh, she was appointed because it's a woman. I never heard no one saying he's a bad male manager and he was appointed because he's a man, appointed by a selection committee of men, just because they speak the same jargon and they recognize leadership in the same way, or they have a common language, so to say. So in addition to the quotas, to develop and provide a narrative that is shared across the corporation, being private or public. And I must confess, I see a number of men in my business environment more and more believing on the positive side of the gender equality, but they are still a minority themselves. So somehow I think that raising awareness of how many gendered aspects are in our day-to-day business, from the way we speak to the way we select people, the way we write vacancies, the way we somehow listen to our colleagues, it is somehow to highlight the win-win situation rather than the win-lose situation. Of course, they come from a supremacy position, from a dominant position. So I would say we cannot expect the large numbers to believe in the equality. That's why the quota are necessary, a bit to force the system in order to turn it around and have certain, let's say, female professionals and illuminated male professionals to team up somehow and reinforce this positive narrative about gender equality. I conclude by saying that women should not shy away from saying, from responding to these colleagues, right? That they kind of pass the message that you got your job because you are a woman. They would never let you go if you somehow doubt about their let's say, experience or knowledge. So we shouldn't shy away from speaking up. I think this is very, very important. And even when they think that speaking up of a woman is arrogant compared to a man that is instead a leader, we have to reply back firmly and nicely also on this point. And sooner or later, we will, together with the quotas and some, so to say, hard a bit imposition, we will get there. Hopefully not in the next century, but in a shorter time.
Super. What Vertica is also proposing is as a softer measure on a set of smart indicators, at least to discuss and have proper figures when discussing women in leadership position, women in management position, salaries, financing, and so on. I would like also to define a bit what we are aiming to. Ms. Ana Maria Mihaescu, we have been discussing in the past year or maybe more about the difference of gender equality and equal chances for women, and what women want when claiming the ladder, the professional ladder, is equal chances. And you have a very nice explanation of that, and I would kindly ask you to have it. What we want, actually.
Yeah. Yes, I think I should reinforce what you and Lara were saying, that we need to speak up and also to explain. Because if you are looking, for instance, at the figures, I think last year they have mentioned that Romanian women are having something like 39% of management positions, which would make one of the very good results in the European landscape. And that it's true, but it's just, I would say, a fake appearance, because the 39%, it's looking at the middle management. So it's defining the large number of women which are in the so-called just below the radar, either of board positions or of very senior CEO positions or high positions in politics or public stage. Unless the women are having the same access to information as men, and they can decide knowing about the situation that they apply or not for a certain position, we cannot discuss about a true gender equality. Because if men are having a better access to information, because the way the society, private or public, it's organized, then a significant part of women which want to have a certain career cannot have access to this information. And that's why in many of my public speakings, I was talking for the equal access to information. If a woman who is equally informed as the man is deciding that she doesn't want a certain career to apply for a certain position, it's fine. It's her decision and it's her happiness. We are having one life on earth and we are deciding what we want from life. But if she cannot have access to that position because she was not informed, then we are talking about unequal chances and gender inequality and not equality.
We are talking about those beers after work, or
yeah, it's usually, mainly in the private sector, but also in public sector, teams are formed around a supervisor, around the boss, and they are having their beers. The majority of women which are in that circle, they are hurrying up home to start the secondary jobs at home. And then, of course, they do not have the same access to information. So in the institutions where I was working in the last years, it was to make sure that the information is reaching everybody. And if it's reaching everybody and everybody are deciding in full knowledge, then I'm fine. And then I truly believe in equal chances. But if the information is kept at the level, or dissipated more during a beer or a cocktail, or during the, I don't know what type of sport they want to have nowadays, I wouldn't specify, then I'm not fine.
Okay. So Lara Tastanzanin, please also, maybe you have a different angle of defining what we are aiming to. Okay, it's very nice. We need access to information clearly. But what else? Is this all? Because what about care? What about support okay, we want a career, but we don't have the resources to pursue one.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me say something maybe a bit provocative here, but I was exposed, since I'm in Romania, 2018, to various initiatives and discussions, and that's why also I liked the Vertic initiative of an alternative policy proposal to support gender equality in Romania. I will share some anecdotes. So we have, as European Investment Bank, some products to favor female entrepreneurship, like we favor young entrepreneurship. I mean, we are driven by social policies rather than being driven by profit as the Bank of the European Union. So when we went to banks proposing this product, I also did it in Turkey before coming to Romania, and practically all the banks kind of jumped on the proposal and used our money, and not only ours, but also some other international financial institutions. So the market saw the opportunity, work on it, and seize it. Here we received almost the same answer across the whole banking sector. We work with a major 14, 15 banks, except one Turkish bank being present here. They all said, oh, but we don't have a problem. We don't have a barrier for female-led businesses or for female entrepreneurs that they want to get money from us for some ventures. And I said, oh, interesting. And how do you know that? Do you have data? Do you know how many female-led businesses you have in your portfolio? And the answer was no, we don't have this data. So I said, your statement that you don't have a problem is more of a feeling or an idea rather than being supported by data. That's why I believe this element to focus on indicators and to make sure there are reliable data to be gathered annually and to monitor the situation in the most factual possible way, because I refer also to Anna Maria that some data might be misleading. So they have to be data available and data explained, and the right data and indicators, because really it is easily, let's say, misleading the reading of this data. So this is absolutely needed in Romania as a starting point. The second point I want to share why it is needed is an example. I have organized an event around female entrepreneurship, and I wanted to invite to speak 2 or 3 female founders of private equity funds. So I approached 3 of them, and the ladies in the founders, so to say. 2 out of 3 told me that they had to speak with the other founder in order to be able to tell me if they could participate or not. The other founder was the husband. So I was quite in shock to be honest. I clearly understood that they were probably not in the driving seat of the business. They were more of a fake appearance, so to say, for other reasons rather than being really a protagonist in the business. And last but not least, I give an example why access to information is important. And I can see how also in my environment, sensitive information is shared during tennis matches on a Friday evening, if not around beers, but around some sports where only men are invited, or cigar events, or I don't know, I can name a list of episodes. Not only is access to information important, but also there are cultural barriers. And I refer to this because even when I was looking for a nanny for my baby here in Romania, I think I interviewed 10 ladies, and all of them, except one that was a single mother, all of them told me that they have to speak with their husband in order to know if they can be available in that hours, in that weekend, and in that shadow that I was looking for. Somehow I feel that still in Romania, even if there is information available, there is an ultimate somehow discussion within the family about the opportunities for the female side of the couple. I'm wondering if the same questions are put on at family level on the male professional opportunities. I don't think so. I think somehow here there is an additional, still somehow a reliance on the partner, so to say, to validate or not our professional choices, and maybe for some cultural considerations that you have a family, that you have to be a good carer of the family. Somehow there are not equal chances being given, even if the information is available at family level. I can say that in Italy the situation was not much different, but somehow we got freer to go for those opportunities. Of course, as I usually say, there are some societal costs. Maybe I say maybe women in Romania are not ready to pay, because this, of course, somehow enters into, I mean, here probably the family context is not always available to give priority to the woman career instead of the male career. And in order not to break up the family, then the end, let's say the final choice is just not to go for higher position, but to stay in the middle management, because it allows a better work-life balance. I think again as a conception more than a reality, because still the idea is that a certain burden of the secondary job, in the way Anna Maria worded it, is not ready to be shared equally between the two sides of the family. And I don't want to generalize too much, but having had different experience of different professional categories here in Romania, I find that this is still a reality. And I conclude by saying that what I think it's really key here is to intersect the young female students graduated from university. If you look at ASE, they have mostly female students. If you look after 5 years in the job or 10 years in the job, most of these students leave the labor market. They either disappear, and they say on the name of the family, on the name of having kids, and of course the lack of childcare services that allow the women to have a wonderful professional career, even if having a family at the same time. This is also a problem in Romania, and I somehow, and also so I would say generally in Southern Europe, where the childcare facilities offered do not allow us women to have the same chances of men in the business environment, because by 5 or at the latest we have to leave and pick up the child, or we have somehow an organization of the family that prevents us from maximizing our presence and participation in the corporate life.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, yes. Moreover, that the pandemic added to that the complexity of kids studying from home, working from home, and who should supervise kids, bring nanny, no care for sure. Yeah, and totally understand. Miss Ana Maria Mihaescu, coming back to this like secret of a happy life and how to manage career improvement and the family and staying united and happy in the end. What was the key to success? What is still?
I think for me, it was the fact that I was not really following the way I was educated, because, you know, we are, I'm an older generation than you are, but still I think your generation has been educated within the family to put the family on the center, the family's welfare, and you should be one part of that. My position and my belief, it's a little bit different. I think both of us, husband and wife, we should be the center of our ecosystem. And I think the pandemic actually has helped quite a lot. And I have seen many young women starting to realize that if they are burned out, they cannot be of help. And in a way, what I have experienced earlier in my job, I have seen now socially and on a larger scale. It's the so-called air hostess theory. You are putting yourself in the middle. You are loving yourself a little bit more than you have been educated to do. And if that is put in practice, then also the rest of relationships are arranged in a cascade, but helping you to remain balanced and happy.
Okay, that's very nice, and this adds to the question: what women need to have more self-trust, self-esteem. What is needed? Because how we get there?
I think to love themselves, to understand that unless you are loving yourself, no one else is starting to love you as much as you need to be loved.
Okay.
No, Lara, we haven't discussed that.
Yeah, Lara. So how you will teach your daughter to this? You know, like what you are, how you are empowering her. This would like relate to a previous education, future generation.
Well, first of all, I would like to say that I also had to break up with my cultural roots in order to be where I am today. Okay, my work-life balance is a different one from Ana Maria. I mean, I'm a single mother of a daughter.
And with a more active job.
You know, I mean, but I okay, now I don't want to use my personal knowledge of Ana Maria, but I find one of the finest, best integrated, balanced couples that with two strong personalities that I met, and I met many in my life. I wasn't, although I have been among many different people in 25. I'm a socializer, nightlifer, whatever. I wasn't not lucky to meet the right person, and so when I was almost 40, I still wanted to have a baby, and so I did have my daughter alone. And thanks God, science and money helped this, and it was possible for me. What I want to say is that, so in that sense, I have broken the cultural rules, dogmas out of which I have grown up. And I think there is nothing bad about it. I think that the culture we come from is the beginning of our root, right? Of our roots, but then we have to grow up as independently by factoring in novelty, innovation, and by loving each other, as Anna Maria says, but also in the way that means that what I want is important. What I believe is good for me is important, and is not only what the others want from me, either your parents, your husband, your partner, or your daughter. So I think to put us central in our life, which of course said by a woman doesn't really sound good still today in many different countries. I think we have to be aware of it, and we have to pursue it. About my daughter, I must confess that I thought I would have had a boy, not to have this somehow because I wanted the boys to look for women like me. So I was more into raising a boy. Then it was a girl, and I feel a much bigger responsibility to grow up a daughter. And I think the best way I can raise it is by the example. I mean, by doing things, by doing what I believe, and also by talking to her and explaining to her each and everything, because I believe we come from a culture of dogmas, that we had to believe in the dogma that our grandmother or mother gave us, or father, and sometimes husband and partner. So I will then try to be an example for her, to explain to her, to verbalize, to communicate. And third, it will be for me the task to leave her enough space to grow as the flower she's meant to be. Until when I was in Italy, I felt that I was a rose in a field of tulips. And everybody was saying, oh, but you're a tulip. And I said, no, I'm a rose. I want to be free. I want to be independent. I don't believe in the same principles you believe. It was not until when I moved into an international context, and I really now link up to what Anna Maria said in the first place. It was not until when I moved to Luxembourg, very international, very diverse, that I met a lot of people like-minded, with whom I didn't share the culture, I didn't share the roots, but I shared a lot of principles that I wanted to pursue. And it was eventually there that I blossomed for the flower I really was. It was, I was already 30. I will not let my daughter to discover this when she's 30. I will allow her to discover this as soon as she can.
Super. So we are coming back to the access to information and to experience, because of course we judge based on our previous experience. And approaching a bit the conclusion, I would invite you to dream a bit and to let us know how you would see the Romanian women 10 years from now. Ms. Anna Maria Mihescu.
Yeah, I would first of all, make a small adjustment. So in the last 30 years, things have been improved in many areas. But at the same time, the world around Romania has improved more. So what was already a decent ratio or a decent situation, even if we are at a certain level now, if we want to improve in the future, we need to speed up the improvement. And I would like also to make a very clear statement. environment are respected and the issue is well recognized. But it's not about me. It's about a generation, a whole society. And at least we need to discuss about it in order to help the education and to make sure that the improvements will be accelerated. And, you know, I believe in Voltaire, so everything is for the best, for the better in the best of world, provided that we are true with ourselves. So I truly believe that Romania will do well, but we need to be activists on that.
And this is what we are doing this evening. So more information, more discussion, putting soft and maybe contradictory or maybe contradictions on the table, and totally discuss it. What about you, Lara? How would you see Romania in 10 years and Romanian women?
I will see. So the first point that came to my mind, I find that they are innovative, elegant. I want to say this as an Italian because I think there is a lot of. They are actually more creative, very creative, and innovative in the way they dress up and they present themselves. And this struck me from day one. And I want to start from this, why I say so, because I really wish that in the case from now in Romania, women will be 100% aware and recognized of the role they have in the society and in the economy. Often I hear people, male and female, saying in Romania, oh, we know that women are really the driving engine of this of this Romania. They are hardworking, they take care of the business and of the family. Yeah, but then I don't see this recognized by the other half of the society, I mean, by men or by the husband. Or if it is recognized in the four walls of the house, of the home, in a very intimate environment. And this does not allow even women themselves to believe that they are so important, that they are so good, that they can ask for being recognized for that, and not just by the husband one evening in front of a glass of wine, or even without a glass of wine. So I really wish that there would be a match between the ever-growing role and already big role of women, female in Romania, that this would be a match between the role and the way this is perceived by the whole society. This I wish for Romania and Romanian women.
Thank you very much, and my whole appreciation to what you have shared with us today, this evening. This is very valuable opinion, and moreover, coming from very strong and powerful women, but still very feminine and elegant, as you also mentioned. So maybe the key is also to keep the nice part of women, so not to become men, that's for sure. So we are not aiming for equality, physical and any other with men, because we bring for sure our sensitivity, creativity, and the power to generate and lead, and maybe focus to details as well. So we're also keeping the focus on time, and I would like to close this discussion with a very optimist and positive messages from Miss Ana Maria Mihescu, board member of Raiffeisen Bank and MedLife, and also Miss Lara Tasan-Zanin, head of European Investment Bank office in Romania. Two ladies to whom I already said, but I will repeat myself, we appreciate a lot your commitment to these efforts and to Vertica project as well. Thank you very much, and stay healthy and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a nice day.